Hi, it's Valerie from Flat to Fabulous, and I've got the wonderful Julia Rock from Louisiana. How are you, Julia?
I'm doing well, Valerie. How are you doing?
Very well, very well. It's Saturday morning here, and it's Friday night there, so we're both heading into the weekend, which is really, really
Thank
good.
God.
But before we kick off our shoes or put on our party shoes, we're going to talk about making friends at work.
Okay.
So why should we do that?
So when I think about making friends at work, there are three key things that stick out for me. The first reason, especially for women to make friends, is that it helps to actually boost your earning potential. And I know that people don't like to talk about money a lot, but especially in environments where you have a diverse group of women, you can have some discrepancy in how much someone makes. So here in the US particularly, they talk
Mm,
about, well, women make 80 cents on the dollar, but it's not really all women making 80 cents for every dollar a man makes. When it comes to Black women, they make about 60 cents or so, or 61 cents.
mm,
For Native American women, I believe it's around 58 cents. And then for Hispanic women, it's around 53 cents. So there's a
wow.
true gap. So it's not just the 80 cents that people say that there's a gap. When you really dig deeper, you find that there are some differences and discrepancies in how much women get paid. And so when you make friends at work, particularly with a diverse group, you can start to talk about how much you
Yes,
earn and talk about, well, what work are you doing? What work are you doing? And then get a
yes,
sense of, okay, am I being compensated effectively and commensurate with my experience in comparison to this other person? So having that open dialogue and this group of friends you can connect with and have real money conversations with is truly important.
okay.
The second thing that I would mention about making friends at work is that it helps you to understand the unwritten rules and the
Yeah.
pitfalls that you can avoid. Especially if you're new to the group, you have no idea what to expect. And obviously, there's going to be corporate policies and kind of management speak about what's okay and what's not okay. But some things that men can get away with in a workplace, women can't get away with. And also for just different diverse groups and so forth. So there's a lot to consider. And so if you're new, you don't want to make missteps that can give you a bad reputation up front before you've had a chance to actually let people get to know you. So having that group of friends, especially if people who have been there a while, they can kind of share some tips and tricks, let you know what the unwritten rules are, let you know how to navigate the space effectively, and who to best connect with, and who can be good champions or advocates for you. So they give you that true kind of 360 view of the group while you're
Yeah.
still getting your feet under you. And then the last reason is really that you have a built-in, so it plays off of the second item. It offers a built-in support group or motivational group. When you're in a workplace, sometimes you feel like you're very alone. And if you're facing a challenge, whether it's a challenge, like, hey, I can't get through this project, or this work task is too difficult, or if it's something more kind of social or emotional in nature, your
Yeah.
workplace bullying or sexual
Yeah.
harassment or something, sometimes you need that group of people that you can share with, confide in, and then come up with a good action plan. Because if you're trying to navigate all those feelings by yourself, it can be very difficult. And so having that kind of in-house support group can really be helpful in tackling some of those workplace issues.
Yeah, I love like two and three having your support network and also the unwritten rules. I think that's absolutely gold, really. You'd really want to do that. What I actually find disturbing is what you said in the first one is that, it's 2020 and there's a disparity in pay and possibly treatment um, due to race. I mean, that's really archaic and it's wrong, and it's just awful. So what can other people do in the workplace to support, like if they're aware or if they're unaware, what would you want from somebody else who's not experiencing that? What could they do? How could they help?
So what I think is important is if you know that there is a potential for something to happen, or if not,
Yeah,
it take the time to actually make friends or to interact with people who are unlike you, who don't look
yeah,
like you. Because then you have a chance to understand potentially what people are experiencing. But it's not just enough to learn about the person, because
yeah.
being a quiet advocate really isn't helping that person. So
No.
the question is, are you able to use, say, the privilege or the opportunity that you have to shine a light on what's going on? So
Yeah.
a friend of mine, she was in a workplace where a white woman was working alongside her. My friend was Black, and a white woman was working alongside her. And they had a conversation about pay and promotions and so forth. And the white lady just kind of talked about, oh, that doesn't make sense. I'm not comfortable with that. And so
Yes,
she went along with my friend and
good.
had a conversation with management about, hey, I don't understand, why we're doing the same work. And so she was
Yeah,
willing to kind of stand up for the other person. And I know that some folks may feel like, well, I don't necessarily want to rock the boat, or I don't want to disrupt what's happening. But you have to think about, if you're not a part of the solution, you're possibly part of the problem. So if you're sitting
yeah.
back and allowing other people to be discriminated against, and you're not using the voice and the platform that you may have to shine a light, the question is, you may be enabling that system to continue. So it really comes down to trying to understand what challenges people are facing, and then leveraging the platform that you may have to drive awareness to the issues at hand.
I agree, because if you're a silent bystander, aware or unaware, then you are in effect siding with the person who's against the victim, if you like, and you're absolutely right. I'm really pleased to hear that the other person was willing. And in my mind, that's what I hope would happen, is that the person would go along with whoever needed to have a conversation with, the manager or whatever it was, and actually challenge that and just say, okay, what have I got that they haven't got? Why are you
Right.
paying us different, and that kind of thing. So that's a really, really positive thing to do. And I guess the same goes for treatment in the workplace as well. If you see that somebody's that's not being treated properly, is to actually be vocal about it and challenge that, challenge the person who's doing the mistreatment and so on. So is that the kind of support that people can offer who aren't actually going through the same thing themselves?
And you make a good point there. It's really about, if you see something, say something. And no
Yeah.
one's saying that you have to necessarily be the referee and jump right in the middle of it. You may
Mm.
not say something right then, but if you've observed something, there's an opportunity for you to go and say something to management or a supervisor in a separate setting. So if you don't want to cause embarrassment or harm right in that setting, and you don't want to exacerbate the issue, take the time to go and sit down with someone and management and say, hey, this is what's going on. I don't know if you're aware, but this is an issue
Yeah.
that's come to my attention. So I'll give you an example. And when I was working as an auditor at my company, and we went on a out of state audit, and I noticed that one of the women on my team was treating one of the young men on my team very miserably. I mean,
Yeah.
berating the man via phone call, and just calling him everything but a child of God. I mean, it was really awful to see, because I had never heard that kind of conversation in the workplace
Yeah.
before. And so he kind of tried to work his way out of it and just say, okay, all right, I get you. But she just kind of went on. And so
Mm.
what I did was, I went and had a conversation with the management about that, to say, this is what's happening. And,
Yeah.
try to do my part to say, this is not okay. Maybe she was
Yeah.
frustrated and everything, but this is just not okay in the workplace. And so I didn't say anything to her right then. I didn't deem
No,
that
no,
appropriate, but I still wanted to advocate for this person who had
that's
just been
very
berated.
good.
Because sometimes if you're trying to go advocate for yourself, your emotions are running high. You may not be able to
Yeah.
formulate everything. So someone who's an observant party can go and give the facts and say, hey, this isn't okay. We've got to look into this issue. And so at
Yes.
least if you're willing to take that step forward on someone else's behalf, because you would want that to happen for you if you were
That's
being mistreated.
exactly it. I mean, it's a less reactive thing to sort of reflect and then take it and just actually, and hopefully whoever you're going to will take it seriously, thinking, look, they've made the effort to come and talk to me about this. And like you
Right.
said, if you were on the receiving end of something, you'd want somebody to stand up for you, wouldn't you?
Exactly.
And then that's the mental health, if somebody can really decline. But if they think that somebody's supporting them, they'll certainly think, oh, someone's noticed, it's not just me, I'm not
Right.
going mad, because some people are a bit like that too. They'll mistreat someone, and that makes the person feel, am I imagining this, or do you know what I mean?
Right. Like, am
Yeah.
I the crazy person? Because everyone's
Yeah.
saying, oh, so
Yeah.
and so such a nice person. Meanwhile, they're
Yeah.
mistreating you, behind the scenes. And you feel like, it's like, it can't just be me, can it? But
Yeah.
so having someone else who's willing to say, hey, I noticed that too, and that's just not okay.
Yeah, that's good. So making friends at work is hugely, hugely important. Now, what if someone's a little bit introverted, and particularly when they start a new job, how would you advise they go about it?
So there are a couple of things to think about when it comes to being an introvert. First thing, no one's expecting you to run in there and become a socialite. You know, you're not
Yeah,
supposed to be the life of the party. You're not going to make friends with everyone. But what you
yeah,
can do is learn your desk and then meet the folks who are next to you, who are just right
yes,
next to you. You don't have to make anything big out of it. You don't have to say, hey, let's go play, play golf this weekend, or let's go have dinner. It's just like, hey, just start casual conversation, nothing too
yeah,
intrusive. And then an opportunity that you may have is also to share the knowledge, because even though you're
yes,
introverted, you
yeah,
can share kind of the nuggets you have about, oh, hey, I heard that you had a problem with this. I've got a tool that you can maybe use, or some documentation
yeah,
that you can use. You want to see it? You don't have to do anything past that, but that starts to build connections, because the person can then come and talk to you about something that you may be having an
yeah,
issue with, and then start that conversation. But the other thing that I may say here, that may not be the most popular, is that you have to be willing to make a change. And being an
yes,
introvert is hard. And so when you're a private person and you don't want to talk and you don't want to necessarily be that outgoing person, it's difficult.
yeah,
But you have to think about, if I truly want to be successful, I have to step a little bit outside of myself.
yeah,
And it can be baby steps, but baby steps still take you forward. So I don't have to go be
yes,
friends with everyone, but can I
yeah,
just talk to this one person next to me, and just, kind of start opening the door a little bit and a little bit. Because you have to challenge yourself. If this is a level of success that I want to achieve, I've got to do more. And
yeah.
yes, it's going to be scary, but I have to be willing to do it.
Yeah, and who knows, the person that you are talking to might be an introvert and be glad that you make that introduction as
Right. Like,
well.
thank
So,
God
yeah,
somebody said something to me.
someone spoke to me. Yeah. Oh, that's really good. Oh, Julia, look, thank you so much for your time again on a Friday night. I really appreciate it. So, some great nuggets there, and I hope people get a lot of value from this. But always a pleasure talking to you. So,
Thank you. You as
thank you
well.
so much. Thank you.
Okay, take care.
Take care. Bye.